Hi, how are you? Good evening, my wonderful viewers. Is yet another moment that we are bringing wings to you. From this comfortable studio, we want to appreciate God. Wings is women in God's service. And as we continue saying, is that we are giving every woman a wing to fly further. And I'm telling you that Wings has had so many testimonies. You have heard them, you have watched the programs, and some of you have commented, you have liked, you have told us where you're watching from, and some of you have even gone further to ask for assistance. I want to let you know that Wings is giving everybody a platform to share with us your challenges and some of the deeper things that you have gone through. And you know what? This is the platform of healing you, either through your mind or your soul, and even your brain. Some of us, we came here without knowing anything, but through the will of Wings, we have flown so high that right now we carry a testimony, not a bitter one, but we can share with you and tell you what God is doing. That is all about Wings. And so with you is your loved one, Pastor Millicent, and in the studio, I have one great woman of God who is in God's service. Remember, we have said we are bringing to you a wing. This woman I'm just about to introduce to you, she's mature enough. She's going to tell us who she is, where she comes from, and even her names. But I want just to give you an insight so that you don't leave that channel. The woman I'm just about to introduce you, can you imagine? She met the husband on Facebook. Wow. And so, without much ado, let me just bring to you our lady girl. She's a beautiful mother. Let her tell us who she is, even as we continue from there. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Kindly tell us who you are, where you're coming from, whether you went to school or not, and then you tell us how you grew up, where you've grown up, and all that as we continue.
Wow, thank you so much, Pastor Millicent and Wings for hosting me.
Yes.
I'm Eva Mumbi. I'm a mother, an actively born-again Christian, a wife.
Repeat there, an actively born-again Christian.
Yes,
wow.
Because you can be born again,
and not
but you're not active.
Okay.
Maybe you sin at night, like during the day you're born again. So
Amen.
I'm actively born-again Christian.
Yes.
An author. I have authored 2 books currently.
Yes.
And I have a few others underway. I grew up in a place called Mokoi. Karura, that is in Kiambu County.
In Kenya. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Yes.
In Kiambu County.
Yes.
I schooled, yes, raised by a single mother until later when I was when the role was taken up by my grandmother.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I love it. You grew up in a single mother.
Yeah.
Was your mother once married, or they separated, or what happened?
She actually never got married.
Yes.
Yes.
You are the firstborn of the family?
I am the firstborn and the only child.
And the only child of your mother?
Yes.
Now, wow. Is your mother alive, or?
Unfortunately, no.
No?
Yes.
Okay, we are going to get to know more about that.
Yeah.
Now, you have grown up. You have said in Kiambu County. You went to school in Kiambu County.
Yes.
And then you grew up. You became a big girl.
Yeah.
Now, I'm talking this, I'll be referring to this, your wonderful book.
Sure.
This is one of the books that our author has written. It says, when tears almost tear. Now, I've said that I'm going to refer to this book because from the beginning of the chapters, there's a place you're talking about a rape ordeal.
Yes.
Now, kindly, can you take us through that?
Wow. So, being raised by a single mother,
yes,
it was not easy, of course.
Yeah.
I'd see her once in a while, like every 2 weeks.
Yes.
She'd tell me that she's been to work.
Yes.
And I would wonder, what is this kind of a job that takes so much of my mom's time that she has no time for me?
Yes.
But anyway, she would massage my frustrations with dolls and, everything, the kind of mother stuff that we do.
Yes.
And later, I came to realize that, unfortunately, she was not going to work.
Yes.
She was going to enjoy herself.
So this time around, you're still staying with Shosh?
Yes, exactly. I was raised by my grandmother and my mom.
Yes.
And so this one day, we used to visit a grandmother of mine in Runda.
Yes.
And this one day, she told me that we are going. I would normally get so excited because I would get goodies there.
At Runda.
And I would get like soda. And soda at that time was a very big deal.
Yeah. Which one did you like? Fanta.
So that time there was a softer, I don't know whether it's softer something, I cannot remember. Yeah.
You used to love that one.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we used to go there. And this one day she told me that we are going. I was so excited. You know, I took a bath, not a shower.
Yes.
Haraka haraka with my karai. I dressed up well. And so we went. When we were about to reach the main road where we take a matatu,
Yes.
she told me, now we are not going to the grandmother's place.
Okay.
We are going to a friend.
It is something that you are used to. Anytime she comes, she could pounder you with going to the relatives where she knew you were going to be treated well.
Yes. Yeah, it was like a usual thing. It was a routine. Like every 2 weeks we'd go, or maybe when she's there weekly, we'd also go.
Yes.
And so I was so excited. When we got to the main road, she told me that we are not going there.
Yes.
We are going to my friend's place.
Okay.
So in my little mind, I knew, of course, it's a lady.
Yes.
So let's go. So we went. I wasn't so happy because now I imagined Runda. Will the place match Runda?
Yes.
And so we got there. The house was really terrible. It looked bad. And
was it an estate?
No.
A makijiji? Where exactly did you go?
It's a homestead.
Yes.
But with like a very dilapidated house, an old house.
Yes.
Brown iron sheets.
Yes.
Kamlango kambao, very shaky.
Okay.
And on knocking, the man that stood there looked very
shaggy, dirty.
Exactly. It is not the kind of place I'd have wanted to go.
This was your mother's friend?
Exactly.
Okay.
And you know, he really scared me, and I just got bored immediately.
How old were you?
I was about 7 or 8. I missed about a year because of my memory at that time. It was too little.
Yes.
Yeah, and because of my mind, sorry. And so he ushered us in. After ushering us in, so we had whatever we were going to have, and you know, night time came. I asked my mom, are we not going home? Of course, in a vernacular language.
Yes.
Yeah, and
was
she
this
told me,
guy speaking the same language with you?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
And you know, she told me that kumekuwa usiku, tutalala huku, lakini kesho tutaenda. So I got bored even more.
Yeah.
But then again, I did not have an option.
No
She's my mom. What do I do?
Yes.
And so we spent the night there.
Yes.
They laid a very thin mattress, and it was not comfortable.
On the floor?
Exactly.
Okay.
On the floor.
So the house, even if it looks so shabby and all that, it was a one-roomed house?
It was just a very tiny room.
Yes.
And so I laid there until morning.
Yes.
My mother woke me up in the morning as she was going to the shop to get some milk for breakfast and whatever we would have with the tea. Okay,
now let me cut you short. The night has come. You have been sleeping on that, you on the floor, and your mom and the boyfriend, whoever it was, on the bed.
Yes.
So whatever they did while you were there.
Yeah, but fortunately I was very young, so you know, with kids you just sleep.
Yes.
And you sleep as in you're like dead asleep.
Yes.
You cannot hear anything, see anything.
Yes.
So the only thing I can remember is my mom waking me up in the morning as she was going to the shop. And so she told me that she's leaving, but she's coming back.
Yes.
And immediately she banged the wooden door. I saw this man crawling on top of me. I got so scared. I can't remember looking right and left. I did not know what to do.
Yes.
And he started tearing my clothes.
My God.
And when I started screaming, he put a handkerchief in my mouth. And now he started saying that, utajua venye pia mimi ninasikia.
Okay.
Kile mama yako alinifanyia, pia wewe nitakufanyia. Na ile ugonjwa aliniekea ukimwi pia wewe utapata.
Did you know of anything? But did you know of ukimwi? You used to hear about it, but did you know that your mom was infected?
At that time, I did not even know what ukimwi was. I was still very, very young. Yes. And I think it was very new at that time. And so he started penetrating. And I think at that time, I felt unconscious. I could not feel myself until my mom came back. And you know, my mom was like screaming, "When ni mnyama wa aina gani? What are you doing to my baby?" It was a very heated argument.
Yes.
And immediately my mom grabbed me, put me on her back, and she took me to some place in around Denderu, somewhere there.
Yes.
And that is where we went to a homestead with like a very small house also. But inside there was like a lady who used to be a medic or maybe a nurse.
Yes.
Because she's the one who took care of me.
Yes.
My mom knew her for some reason.
You were wounded?
Yes, I was.
Yes.
And at that time, blood was flowing. And when we got there now, she took me in, bathed me. They did not even mind to report to the police.
Yes.
That is one thing that I always wonder why they didn't do that. Yes. Because the first place would have been to the police and then out to the hospital.
Maybe your mom, according to you, you know, maybe your mom was protecting the boyfriend or something.
So the lady treated me. I can remember taking stitches without being...
Anastasia.
Exactly.
And it's being done live.
Exactly.
Jesus.
So the pain, and I was young. I was very young. So finally we were done, and now we had to go back home.
Yes.
On our way home, my mom told me...
Did you walk? Did you walk back home?
She carried me.
Okay.
She carried me. And she told me that if I hear you saying this to anybody, I will kill you. And my mom was very tough. If she said she would kill you, she would literally kill you. So I knew, boy, I better not speak, I'm dead.
Yes.
So we got home. My family, now my grandmother and my aunties would ask me, Nini Nimbaya, what happened to your leg? And then my mom had told me...
because of the way now you are walking.
Because I'm walking differently.
Yes.
My mom had said, when you get home, mtu mwenye atakuuliza, tell them that you fell on the stairs in Runda. And unfortunately, at that time, there were no phones.
Yes.
So they could not call.
Could confirm.
Exactly.
Yes.
No one could confirm. And then we had that routine. Even if they were to confirm, maybe it would be one of the times that we were there.
Yes.
And so, I started healing. Every morning, my mom would come with a sponge or a cloth and pat that area, a very salty and hot cloth, yeah, to like the way we do after childbirth.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
That is what she used to do. But we used to hide when doing that because remember our house was very small, and she would not want anybody to see.
My God.
Yeah.
And it was painful.
Exactly.
Now the rape has happened. You have come back home.
Yeah.
Your mom is still continuing working outside, which now she could come and tell you, I work this, I work this.
Yeah.
How did you take it? Now that your mom is so far, now you expected her to stand with you after the rape. How did you take it?
Well, luckily for me, I had my grandmother. She has always been a friend to me. And so we used to talk, but unfortunately, I still could not open up to her.
Yes.
But as a child, I think that thing cleared up pole too, but with time, it was over. It was at the back of my mind.
Yes.
And the only thing that I could fear quite a lot was being close to any man, even my own grandfather.
Yes.
I could not enter a room where he was
You developed
alone.
a fear, yes.
Exactly. Anyone was like Adam, I could not go close to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you're here, oh my God. You're here, you raped, and that you have to continue with your life.
Yeah.
How did it happen? How did it go until you cleared school? Because at 7, 9 years, I believe maybe you're in class 1. So you have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Go to Form 1, I mean, go to Form 4, clear school. How was it? And how did you come to realize about this HIV ukimwi thing that you were told about?
Well, now, later after, a few years after that ordeal, my mom came home and she had a very big tummy.
Yes.
And I asked her, kwani ni nini mbaya? I used to call her Irene.
You never used...
I never called her mom.
Wow.
My grandmother was mom.
Oh my.
Yeah, because I was raised by my grandmother more than she did.
Yes.
Yeah. And now at that time when she came, I asked her, ni nini tumbo? Akaniambia, nimekunywa maji ya mbosho, maharagwe.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, okay, then this maji must be really working. Your stomach is here. So later she told me, you're going to have a baby, brother or sister.
Yes.
Oh, I was so excited because I used to pray for that day.
Yes.
And remember,
all alone.
I'm still a baby.
Yes.
So at that time I was in class 4.
Yes.
When I was having this baby brother, it turned out to be a brother.
Yes.
And when the brother came, of course we were excited. It was a really life-changing moment.
Yes.
So we used to take that boy to clinic,
Yes.
me and my mom, the well baby clinic. So one day when we went, okay, what she used to do, she'd be left at the gate, look for somebody around there, a woman who looked like she needed cash fast, and she'd give her like 50 shillings. She'd tell her, now go in with her, she's my daughter and this is my son.
Yes.
Ukae kama wewe ndio mama yao. And they will do the vitals, they do everything that the baby needs, and then you come back. You'll find me here.
Your mom will not enter the clinic.
Exactly.
We'll get another mama outside.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I came to learn later that she feared the doctors would realize that she's sick and the baby is sick. So one time we went in, and the nurse came and told this other woman, this baby has turned out to be HIV positive.
Yes.
The woman, out of shock, and remember she's not my mother,
Yes.
placed the baby on my laps and fled. So the nurse was like, hey, okay, what is happening? What has happened to your mom?
Yes.
Why is she leaving? So I did not have an option. I told her, you see mama yangu. Remember, I'm a baby.
Yes.
You see mama yangu. The nurse forced me to take her to
where
my
your mom was.
So I took the nurse to the gate. Biggest mistake ever.
What?
Because my mom got furious, kabisa.
Oh my God.
And so she was spoken to. Then she was taken to a small room in that hospital, Gashi Hospital.
Yes.
And she was cancelled, I think, and she felt a bit better. The nurse also said, you know, the baby is sick, but it's not the end of life. So finally we started our journey going back home. It was the longest journey ever. The most
have
quiet.
the nurse spoken to you about this? Ama, you have been just sidelined?
No, I've been sidelined, but I'm overhearing what they are saying.
Yes.
But I was not sure. So we went home. On our way home, it was so quiet. I did not know what to say to my mom. I knew that I had wronged her.
Yes.
So hata nikijaribu kumjokia, mom, mtoto ameambiwa aje, as in Irene, sorry, not mom.
Yes.
Mtoto ameambiwa aje, she doesn't want to respond. So finally we got home. I asked one of the sisters.
Now your auntie.
Exactly.
Yes.
I heard the nurse saying that my brother is HIV positive. In class 4, at least you understand a bit.
Yes.
And she told me, yes, your brother and your mom are HIV positive, lakini usijali. It is not a big deal. I did not take it as a big deal because I was still young.
Yes.
Sikukuwa naelewa kabisa.
Yes.
And so finally life went on until 5 months when this baby died.
When the baby was 5 months?
Exactly.
The baby died?
The day when the baby was turning 5 months, the baby just did not wake up.
Oh my God.
And I can remember my mom crying. And I also felt so bad because now I have a brother.
And now the brother
Yesterday I had a brother, today I don't.
Yes.
And so yeah, they buried him that same day, and that was it. A few months later, my mom came back with again
the big stomach.
Maji ya beans.
Yes.
And I was like, hey, okay, sawa. A few months later, mtoto. Haya. The baby, as in the same thing continued, but now this time I had to wash the nappies for the baby.
Yes, because you are big enough.
I'm in class, about almost finishing class 5.
Yes.
And ningianika tu to nappy, but they were very yellow. You know, Kikuyus and nappies, they have to be white.
Yes.
But now these ones had to be yellow. And I would wonder, why doesn't my mom want to wash the nappies?
Yes.
Why can't the sisters or my grandmother help her?
Yes.
And she did not want them to help. She did not want them to touch anything of that baby.
Yes.
Anyway, a year later, the baby passed on. Exactly on his first birthday, he passed on.
Now you have gotten used to the baby, already 1 year, and the baby has passed on.
Yes.
Okay.
And that day my mother really cried. She got depressed, started speaking to herself like a person who had mental issues.
Yes.
And I also got frustrated because you remember the same knife that struck her is the same knife that you know cut through me.
Yes.
As in losing 2 brothers in a span of 2 years.
That's true.
Of course it's not easy.
Yes.
But I was able to heal quickly. But for her, I think she got depressed. Remember, she's sick. And now here she's lost 2 babies.
Yes.
Now even the disease started eating her.
Yes.
By this time I'm in class 6, and now the mateso started. She really changed.
From your mom or?
From my mom.
Yes.
She became bitter. She became sick. She got TB. And there's this small tin where she'd spit.
Yes.
And I used
the spectrum.
Exactly.
Yes.
I would clean that tin with my bare hands. There was blood. There was sputum, there was everything that is not good. And she would force me to clean it with my bare hands.
Oh my God.
Remember, before...
There were no other bigger people who could do it?
She never wanted anybody to help.
She wanted you to do it?
Exactly. She never... My grandmother would try, but she said no. I would also wash her clothes. I'm in class 6. And I would find blood, pus. I did not understand from where or what it meant, but now later I came to learn.
Yes.
But before all this happened and before my mom got sick, she was the cleanest person I ever met.
Yes.
Even up to date.
Yes.
She was the best mother any child could have asked for.
Yes.
So what changed her was her status.
Yes.
She was unable to accept, so it messed with her mind, with how she treated people around her.
My God.
Exactly. But before, she was the best.
Did you, at any one time, maybe, did she sit down with you, tell you what she was going through? Ama she continually became abusive without your knowledge?
She continually became abusive. I think even without her own knowledge. She did not know that she was treating me badly.
Okay.
Now, one time my grandmother bought me rubbers. And you can imagine that she urinated on the rubbers.
Huh?
Yeah. She was so bitter to that point.
Oh, my.
I'd sleep on the end side of the bed where her legs were.
Oh, you used to sleep with her?
Exactly.
Yes.
And she would push me with the legs, pinch me on my thighs. And wake me up from my sleep. At that time I was sleeping.
Yes.
And she'd pinch me, push me. I did not understand why. I could not understand. What did I ever do to deserve? As in, you're my mom. What have I done?
Yes.
The best thing I can get from you, the only thing I deserve from you is love, if not anything else.
Yeah. Continue. Yeah.
Okay. So then my school lunch.
Yes.
I would carry packed lunch. My grandmother would pack lunch for me.
Yes.
And in that tin, this thing is really making me, it's giving me all sorts of emotion.
Yeah, don't worry.
But I believe I'm healed in Jesus' name.
You're healed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she would pack lunch for me.
Yes.
And in that lunch, I would find blood. And
she spat on the food.
Exactly. So I would find traces of blood and sputum.
Oh my God.
And you know, maybe sputum could have dissolved, but blood,
yes,
kama it's ugali, it has to be there. And I'd be so shocked. I'd tell my grandmother, and then she'd tell me, usikule yo chakula. Anytime you realize, usikule. But I had a friend, her name was Maggie. She used to carry snacks like, there's a cake we used to call kangumu.
Yeah.
She used to carry kangumu and soda.
Yes.
So we'd share.
Yes.
So at least I was able to go through that. Now, until this one day, when my mother got very, very sick,
yes,
to a point that my auntie and I, the only auntie now who was still living there,
yes,
could not sleep in that same house. She would get so abusive, so tough. We just could not understand her.
Yes.
Now we decided tutakuwa tunaomba mahali pa kulala.
From your own house,
exactly,
because she has become so aggressive.
Yes.
Yes.
And she was even tough to her own mother and the father.
Wow.
Yes, in a way that they could just not control her.
This kind of bitterness that she could use anything to harm anybody.
Yes, yes, that is the kind of person she was. And unfortunately at that time, we did not know of medics, I don't know, psychiatrists and what, or psychologists. We could not take her anywhere. If we knew, we would have
that's true,
helped her.
Yeah.
Now at this time, I'm in class 7. And she became very sick. I remember my grandmother would tell me to go and tell her something or tell her the food is ready, and I would not find her in the bed. She had become so skinny that you'd not see her lying on the bed.
Like when she's sleeping on the bed,
exactly,
she has really reduced.
Yes.
Okay.
Her cheekbones looked like they would pop out of the skin. She had lost all the weight, and she was so hippie, so beautiful.
You
she had lost it all.
These?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
I used to live in the same house.
Yes.
So this one day, she called me. They used to have a nickname. They used to call me Dede. Dede come.
Yes, I saw Dede in the book. Now I was like, Dede sini grasshopper.
Dede huko kwetu ilimaanisha mimi.
Okay.
Anyway,
yeah.
So she called me, Dede, kuja uniletee maji. In a language, of course.
Yes.
And I told my grandmother, you go and take the water. Me, I'm so scared. She will pinch me, slap me, do anything, even spit on me.
Oh my God.
So I told my grandmother, apana, enda umpeleke. She repeated again, no, nimesema wewe. Little did I know that those were the last words she'd say directly to me. So I took her the water, scared of course.
Yes.
And after a few sips, I think, she called again. And then, but she did not say my name. She said, and then nitafutie gari kwa Kimani. Kimani was the only neighbor who owned a car.
Yes.
So my grandmother decided, now let me stay with her as you and your auntie go look for
now what time of the day is this that she's now asking for the car?
It was around 7:30
in the evening.
In the evening.
Okay.
And it was drizzling a bit.
Yes.
So we went. We did not find Kimani. My auntie, she was a grown-up. She was about 25-ish.
Yes.
She told me, now what we are going to do, we are going to go to your great-grandmother's house. that is my grandmother's mom.
Yes.
There's a sister to my mom who lived there. We are going to leave you there. I'll pick her and we'll go find a car. So that is what happened. When we did that, me, I just slept. I just left them to go. I did not want the hassle. So nikalala tu. I did not even wash my legs. But in between our house to the great grandmother,
yes,
kulinyesha sana.
So
and
you were
I remember,
on.
yes, and I remember there were roaming dogs. They really chased us. It is a day we will never forget. Right now we laugh about it with my auntie, even though it turned out to be a bad way.
Yes.
But a bad day. But that memory of being chased by dogs in the rain,
yes,
we laugh about it right now. So I slept. I did not even wash my legs. In the morning I woke up and my great grandmother served me tea. I told her I don't want. I was just feeling something awful.
Yes.
And I passed by another uncle's house. He lives in like the same homestead.
Yes.
And I found the daughter, her name is Tracy. Akaniuliza, you're going home? Nikamwambia, siende saa hizi. So I was like, why are these people not telling me to go na mimi nataka kuenda?
Yes.
So anyway, I decided to go still. On my way, I could see people looking at me and like whispering things. I could even look at myself, what's happening? Kwani what has happened? Ama they can notice I did not wash my legs from yesterday.
Yeah.
So finally I got home. Nikapata wa mama, others are washing, others are sweeping, and they were putting up the tent.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it was not the kawaida tent, the blue and white, or red and white. It was canvas, like the one we used to cover books with, the clear paper, but now very dirty, very brown. And some sticks, I don't know, that gotten from where. It looked bad. So I saw my aunt and I asked her, Irene ako wapi? Alipelekwa wapi hospitali? Tuende tukamuone. And you know, she said, niara tuekanire, in a dialect.
Yes.
And I was like, okay. It's okay. If she cut it, it is okay.
Yes.
Now,
so can we go and see her?
Yeah, can we just go and see her?
You didn't understand that word?
Yeah, go to Ekana. I didn't know what that was. Yes. So I was just like, okay, maybe alilazwa hospitali or whatever it meant. Yeah. And she said, no, listen. Haushiki kenye nakwambia. Your mom is dead. She's normal. Wow, I did not cry, I did not scream. I just felt choked here by a big lump, like a potato. Yeah. And I went to the house. I bathed. My auntie was shocked because she expected me to cry and all this. Yes. But I didn't. I bathed. I put on a white dress my mom had bought me. It had gorovas. We used to call them gorovas. Yes, yes. And so she told me, we are going to go to your other auntie. Her name is Mombi. Yes. And there we're going to inform her because she doesn't know. Okay. On our way there, people would ask us, oh, we are hearing this and this, what happened? We just leave them there because we are really hurting. Yes. And we go to this place called Karura. We met a friend of hers, her best friend. She had not known yet. Yes. And you know, we told her, and she was just rolling at the stage, at the Mastatu stage. She was rolling and crying, and we couldn't help her. We were hurt as well. Yes. So we just left. Exactly. We left her there. Yeah. And so the proceedings happened, the mashakayas, and my friends from school came. And that was another tough moment because they had better houses, better lives.
They were living well.
Exactly. Yes. And even if they had mabati houses, at least theirs had paint. Ours was a brown proper. Yes, it looked like it would even shake ianguke. But I thank God because that is not the case right now. God changed the whole situation.
You felt embarrassed. You felt like...
Yes, but I told myself, I'm mourning. So it's okay. Let them take whatever they're going to take back to school.
Now, let me take you back. Now, your mom has died. You have prepared the burial and everything. Yeah. Did she at any one time mention who was your father? Putting in mind that you are a single baby and the only child for that matter. Yeah. Did your mom mention at any one time who was your father or show you an evidence of who was your father? Yes.
Yes, she did. When I was young and when we were in good terms, before she became bitter, yes, I would joke with her. I would joke with her a lot and ask her, where is my dad? And you know what she'd say? Aligongwa na kilori. Ama kibasi. So I knew, hey, okay, so he's gone.
Yeah, I don't have a dad.
But finally, she gave me a photo. At the back of the photo was written Muturi. And I knew, wow, so my dad's name is Muturi. So upon questioning her a bit more, she told me that my dad was from Ruaka. So I knew I had this photo, and I know he's from Ruaka. I used to keep saying that one day I will look for my dad. Yes.
Now your mom has died. You have buried your mom. How will life continue now that your dad is Muturi, which you have never seen? You buried your mom, the only Irene that you knew. Now you are with Shosh. How is your education going to? Because I believe you're in class 7. Now you have to transit to secondary. How did it come?
Wow, it was never the same. It has never been the same up to date. Because losing a mother is a very special person in anyone's life. And everyone deserves to have their mother.
That's true.
But we thank God because of his timing. It is perfect and we appreciate it. So immediately I went back to school after the burial. There's this one teacher who wanted you to have a red pen, black and blue. But unfortunately I didn't have them. So the teacher said, wewe ungeambia nyanyako akununulie hizi vitu zenye una need na pesa ya the money that remained after the burial preparations and the burial itself. That thing hurt me so bad. You know, I was like, gosh, you don't know my mom is dead. As in, like, my mom is dead. So what are you talking about? I don't know pens. I don't even need them. All I need is my mom. Anyway, I put that in a corner somewhere and just went on with life. Life was never the same. So my grandfather at this time was taking a lot of alcohol. So that alcohol would take charge of him. And he would get a bit abusive. Like when he was drunk, only when he was drunk. He'd tell me, utafuata mamako. You know, such bitter words. So my grandmother decided, I'll take you to your aunt's place. You'll be living there and schooling there. So I went there. So I did my KCPE. I did not pass as well as I would have wanted. But anyway, I tried.
You tried?
Yes, considering all these things that have happened.
Would you mind telling us that trying, where did you go to high school?
I went to Senior Chief Koinange. It's a good school.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah.
Even though I did not get the grades that I wanted, in that school, the best thing that I got was a Christian foundation.
Awesome.
Because Senior Chief and, you know, being a Christian, as in you have to really be committed. There is no other way. Yeah, so getting into high school was tough. I did not have shoes. I did not have uniform. Here is my grandmother struggling. My grandfather, a retired teacher, at least would get
at least anaweza kuwa akona insight hata ya education.
Exactly. In that pension, now he'd used to a bit of it to help me out with school fees, books. As in, it could not manage the whole thing. And during my mom's burial, many people came and they told me, you know, we are going to take you to the best schools. We are going to do this and this for you. I did not know that. They were just empty promises.
You never saw them even after the burial?
No.
Everybody left?
Only few people showed up to like do shopping once in a while.
Now, you have been called to Senior Chief. I know it's a very expensive school. It has some expensive characters. And now your school fees has to be paid and everything. I'm saying that because, my dear viewers, our dear Pastor Evelyn has this book. I'm saying that I'm going to cut so that you get this book. It's something. Now you have gone to Senior Chief. You're sure she's the one who is talking about it. Do you have the school fees?
We do not have the school fees. On the day of admission, I was taken to the dorms and then I was called back again that we are not going to admit you because you do not have enough money. Taken back again and then brought back to the principal's office.
Oh my.
Because there's this teacher who's saying she has not paid even a coin. Why are you admitting her? Those are not the rules. But finally, my grandmother spoke to the principal, Mrs. Motwale at that time. And she agreed. She said, okay, sure, it is okay. We are going to keep her, but you have to promise that in a week's time,
you bring something.
At least something little.
Okay.
Now, I did not have shoes, remember? So this friend, my grandmother's sister, her name is Aunt Mary, had a friend called Kalondu. Kalondu had a pair of black heels, but the shoe tacks, the one below the heels, they were worn out. So Senior Chief, the whole of Senior Chief is like cemented. So whenever you're walking, you can hear the sounds.
Dong, dong, dong.
TikTok.
Okay.
And Kong Kong. So on that day, I gathered myself a nickname. My new name was Kong Kong.
the new girl, now you have gotten a name.
Yes.
And not because you want,
Yeah.
but it's because of the way the life is.
Yes.
Now you're here in school, you have gathered up, and you want really to study. Then all goes well, you finish up.
Yeah.
Now, after you finish up,
Before I finish up,
Yes.
is when I decide to look for my dad.
okay. Okay.
I was in Form 4.
Okay.
I was going back for tuition during April holidays.
Yes.
And I passed through Ruaka. I said, now here is a little pocket money. What I'll do, I'll shop here, at least for toothpaste,
Yes.
shoe polish, and all that. But when I went to the shop, I found a woman. She looked very friendly. Nikamuuliza, do you know anybody by the name Muturi? And she was like, na unakaa watu wa huko. Wewe ni wanani kati ya Muturi and Wainaina and all the brothers.
Yes.
So nikamwambia haja, mimi ni wa Muturi, but hata mimi mwenyewe simjui, namtafuta. So that woman, by the grace of God, akafunga duka.
Wow.
And we went round Ruaka kutafuta this Muturi. We did not find him. We went back to the shop, but the woman told me, stay there, let me see how we can find your dad.
Yes.
So she continued, and finally this man comes approaching, and I'm like, hey, okay, this is my dad. Ningetaka babangu akae aje, does he match? So I was just fine, but I have a dad now.
Yes.
I'm not complaining.
Yes.
So he came, he greeted me. I wanted to hug him, but remember I have this fear.
Yes.
So I could not.
Of the ordeal now.
Yes.
Yes.
And how people say your heart skipped a beat.
Yes.
At that time for sure it did.
Yes.
It skipped a beat kabisa. So he asked me, uko form 1? No, I told him I'm in form 4. Unaitwa nani? I was like, gosh, as in
you don't even know.
You sired me and you don't know my name.
Yes.
Okay, that's weird. Is your mom alive? How is she? No, not is your mom alive. How is your mom?
Oh, he doesn't
did not
know. Okay.
So now is when I told him that my mom is not alive.
Yes.
Anywho, to cut the story short, I went back to school because it was getting late. Remember, we had like curfew.
Yes.
So there's this time I was supposed to
the time that you're supposed to be in school.
Exactly.
Yes.
But he gave me his phone number and directions to where his home is. So when I was going home from tuition,
Yes.
I would pass by his home, which I did. And meanwhile, he visited me in school.
Oh.
Now I had promised God that on that day when I will find my biological father,
Yes.
I will also find you.
Yes.
Spiritually.
Yes.
So on that day I surrendered my life to Christ.
Wow.
Because it was a decision. It was like a promise. God, ukinifanyia hii,
Nita-
I will do that.
Yes.
And for sure, that is what I did. And up to date, I'm still very actively born again.
Amen.
Yeah.
Now, how your father now, that's another chapter, because I want to go every chapter as we clear up. Yeah? Now, that is your father, you have met him. How is your relationship with your father up to date now?
We are good. We are more like friends.
Yes.
Not like father-daughter.
Yes.
I think we are friends.
You're still working on the father-daughter
Yes,
relationship.
the bond takes time.
But he's still there for you. Anytime you feel like you call him, he can pick your call. But now your father moved on.
Already he had a wife at that time.
Yes.
The wife became my friend. The kids became my friend.
Like
My
the other
grandmother-
brothers that you never had.
Exactly.
Yes.
My grandmother from that side is also very friendly. I have an auntie called Papi. She's also very good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, sweet girl, that's what God can do. When you trust in God and when you put your path in God. Remember, there was a rape here that she didn't understand where it came from. But now, here the story is getting deeper. You have loved your dad and you have finished the school. We start your adult life.
Yes.
I love this part. I'm talking that because don't ask me where I knew it. It is from the book. Now, you go to your husband on Facebook. Hey, Jesus. Okay, tell us about it. Facebook, boyfriends, real?
It depends. I think back then, not now, I don't know.
Okay,
But
tell us what happened.
I think if God has destined you to meet your man in a hotel, you
Yes.
meet him there.
Yes.
Apparently for me,
Yours
it was
was social media.
Yes.
We bless the Lord. Can you tell us what happened?
So,
You have moved from school now.
exactly, I have found a job.
Yes.
Now, while working, I have a lot of time and a lot of internet.
Yes.
So I'm in Facebook. through a mutual friend,
Yes.
as in this friend of mine,
Yes.
We school together, would post things, I would comment, my
Yes.
husband would comment.
Okay.
And during those comments, we'd have an argument.
Yes.
And so we became friends.
Through the mutual friend now.
Through the mutual
Yes.
friend,
Yes.
not physically.
Yes. Yes.
And this one day he sent me an inbox and said, hi, can I get your number? And I'd love to marry you. So I was like, okay, are you out of your mind? How are you marrying me online?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, so I gave him my number. I told him, sawa, iki work, I work. And if it fails, then it was not for God.
How old were you then?
I was 19.
Okay.
Just about to turn 19.
Okay.
And so we started a relationship. We did not meet each other in a few months.
Yes.
But one day we finally met. And honestly, it was the best day of my life. Because since I was young, I used to pray for a family. A complete family. Mother, father, and the children, plus God.
Yes.
And so this day we met. He told me that for sure he wants to marry me.
It didn't trigger your rape. Now it means that you had,
did.
yeah, it triggered.
But the best thing with my husband is that he's a very jovial person.
Yes.
So he was very easy to open up to.
Yes.
So that was the first thing I did on the first day of our meeting.
Okay.
I told him, now, I have some very bad wounds, some very past wounds, and probably it may take time for me to heal.
Yes.
Depending on how you treat me.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in this together. So
Okay.
help me out.
Was he born again? Remember now you are an active. Was he born again?
He was born
Okay,
again.
okay.
Not 100%. I'd say he was about 80.
Okay.
He was about 80% born again.
So it challenged your 100%. Ama you're still working together?
Yeah, we were working together.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So 6 months down the line, on a Thursday.
On a Thursday.
I had gone for an interview.
Now, I want to talk to somebody there who has dated for 9 years. Oh yeah, listen to this story. They have dated for 2 months online. Again, few months, like 4 months, they have dated. Then what happened on a Thursday?
Wow. So on a Thursday,
Yes.
I'd gone for an interview. I had lost my previous job.
Yes.
And, you know, I did not get the job.
Okay.
Just like we are usually told, you know, we'll call you.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, I'm waiting for that call.
Yes.
And the call did not happen anyway. So I called my husband and told him, so today I'm planning to move from my
That's your
place.
boyfriend now?
Boyfriend
Yes,
now.
yes.
So I'm planning to move from my auntie's place.
Yes.
Because we are clashing a bit. Remember, I'm a teenager.
Yes.
And at that time, hatupendi kusumbuliwa.
Uh-huh.
So when my auntie would put rules on me, at which she's stressing me and everything.
Yes.
So I told my husband, I'm planning to move today. So I'm going to a Kamabati house.
Yes.
It has steamer and all that. You know what he told me? Don't do that. I've not given you permission. Come to my house. And when I got to his house, I had the key already. And he came back from work. He was older and already working.
Yes.
And he told me, you know what? I want to marry you from today.
Huh?
Yes. On a Thursday.
Huh?
Yes.
With no pastor?
No pastor.
You became pastors of your own?
Yes.
Yes.
We prayed for ourselves. And you know, we got married.
Okay.
From that day.
It can really get complicated.
And I used to tell my family, niko kwa babangu. I'm at my dad's house.
Uh-huh.
So don't look for me. I'm okay. I'm safe.
Yes.
And you know, my dad's family wako sawa.
Yes.
So don't worry. Until later, when they came to realize, hey, okay, this girl, something is not right. They were all in shock.
Wow.
Others said that it's a passing wind.
Yes.
But by the grace of God, 9 years later, I still am married.
You're still married?
Yes.
Now, wow. 9 years still married.
Yes.
Now, the best thing about it and about your marriage, it's how it happened. This is the better part of, and I'm asking this because I am following a book. You have gotten married,
Yeah.
and now you are stable. You have made up your mind. I want to settle with this guy. He's going to be the husband and the father of my children.
Yes.
Then there is an ordeal of sickness.
Yeah.
Take us through that.
Wow, so I was very, very much okay. I had never gotten ill apart from now the situation with the rape, which
Yes.
is not really a disease, it's an occurrence.
Yes.
And so I started we got baby fever. We wanted a baby.
Yes.
But the baby is not coming.
Okay.
A year down the line,
yes,
I'd seen gynecologists.
Yes.
They'd say you're fine.
So
you have no issue.
How old are you now this time around?
I'm 19.
Okay. Now
I'm 19. Now 2021.
Okay.
Now at that time I was 21.
Yes.
We are not, I could not conceive.
Yes.
And we were wondering, okay, what is happening? So I saw gynecologists. You know, we did everything that we were supposed to do.
Yes.
Until we decided, okay, let's wait upon God.
Yes.
And I called a friend of mine, her name is Liz, and her husband Devi. They were newlyweds.
Yes.
And we prayed together, we had fellowships, we fasted.
Yes.
And one day when we were praying, the Lord showed her a vision of me holding a baby boy.
Okay.
And the next Sunday, it was like on a Wednesday.
Yes.
On Sunday,
yes,
when we'd gone for a certain pre-wedding somewhere,
yes,
before we reached the pre-wedding, I was feeling a bit of cramps, a bit of pain. And, you know, we went to the hospital and I was told, you're pregnant.
Okay.
Honestly, we could not believe it. 6 years down the line, I have that cast slip that is written, you know, pregnant, positive.
Yes.
I was so excited. But remember here, I have this issue of, so if my mom died of AIDS,
yes,
that man said, exactly. Yes. So I was afraid. So anytime I would go for my well baby clinic, I was so scared.
For the test?
Exactly.
Yes.
But for my before baby clinic,
yes,
not
yes,
the well baby.
Yes.
I was so afraid because usually they do this test.
Yes.
So we did the test, and by God's grace, it was negative. Wow. Even with my second baby, when we were doing the test, I was still afraid.
Yes.
I think it is something that does not go away. Yes. I had to do so many tests for me to be sure that it wasn't there for sure.
Okay.
So finally I got pregnant.
Yes.
And it was a tough journey because my baby tried to like miscarry about 3 times.
Yes.
By the grace of God again, the baby held on and I had my baby.
Yes.
And now, when I had my baby is when all these issues started.
Yes.
Like a few months after delivery, I started having these infections, recurrent ones. I started having stomach pains and all that. And I would go to the hospital, get antibiotics as usual,
yes,
and then go back home. But this one day, at that time I was in the car business industry.
Yes.
And I was selling cars. So when I went home, I felt like I wanted to go to the washroom.
Yes.
When I go to the washroom, instead of urine coming out,
yes,
poop came out from the front.
Wow.
And I was scared, I was shocked, and the blood was dripping, of course, because there was a bit of strain.
My God.
Yeah.
Could it be the reason, because of the reason of the rape? Ama, what was the problem? Ama, was it fistula? What was it?
So I called my husband immediately.
Yes.
We rushed to the hospital.
Yes.
When we got to the hospital, the doctor did some tests and I got admitted.
Yes.
He said that he could not really term it as fistula.
Yes.
But there was a connection between the back and the front,
okay,
which needed to be repaired surgically.
Yes.
So he did something called posterior perineuraphy or something of that sort.
Yes.
So I got admitted. The next day went in for surgery. By
and
God's
you're
grace.
Still pregnant?
No, at that time I have already delivered.
Okay, okay.
And my baby is almost a year.
Okay.
And so I did the surgery, but the next morning, and it was very painful, actually more painful than childbirth.
Okay.
It took time to heal, but by the grace of God, I healed.
Okay.
A few months later, no, not a few months later, about a month later, when we were going for this checkup,
yes,
just to confirm
just to see whether the wound has healed well. Yeah.
So I went to the doctor again, the gynecologist, and he said, so you're healing well, but there's a problem. When the nurses were checking your vitals, they saw that your heart is racing at 160. So I'm like, hey, okay, 160.
I believe it should be 90 or 72.
70 to 90, at least.
160, so, that's double.
Yes. So the doctor was very shocked and he was like, I don't even know how you're breathing. I don't know how you're walking.
Have you ever known of a sickness as you're growing up? Did you at any one time have any medical complications?
Not really. I never had any medical issues.
Okay, now.
So the doctor tells us now, because the cardiologist is just within this area,
yes,
this hospital,
yes,
what you're going to do is go to the cardiologist so that he can do a few tests.
Yes.
By the grace of God, I had insurance, so it was not as tough, as in financially.
Yes.
So I went to the cardiologist. He did, I think, maybe 10 or more tests.
Yes.
There was this one called catecholamine, where
Yes.
I had to go home with a 5-liter jerry can,
Yes.
and I had to fill it with urine to be tested the next day.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's another one called a tilt bed. I did so many echo and all those.
Yes.
You know, and finally he said that, you know, your heart has an issue. There's a sinus that is causing problems, and it's causing your heart to race so high and sometimes to go low. So what we do, we're going to put a pacer. But we do not have now the money, the insurance.
That one that is normally put in the heart.
Exactly,
okay.
on the chest, just
yes.
below
yes.
the chest.
Yes.
And you know, the insurance would not cover for the pacer. So I told the doctor, you know what, let's not do this now. But because you've told me I'll be on medication, and this medication will be long term, let me first use the medication. So yeah, that is what we decided to do. Up to date, I'm still on that medication.
Okay.
But because my God has healed me and he's been there for me, I believe even this one will dry up, whatever it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, that's a heart condition. How many years into marriage?
That's about 3 years, 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years in
Yeah.
marriage. Now, this is a condition that has been found by the doctors.
Yes.
And remember, your husband, you never dated much. As in, unaweza sema, mimi namjua hii situation
Sana, yeah.
atatembea nayo,
Yeah.
ninajua ataendelea tu kunipenda. This is a situation that has come,
Yes.
and it's a very, very delicate situation for a wife, and only having been married for 3 years.
Yes, yes,
now,
yes.
after that, how did you handle it? Did you go back to work, or other things started recurring? I know this
No.
testimony, my viewers, this testimony is so big, and I know maybe we cannot complete all of it, but there's something I want us to be left with.
Now, I did not go back to work yet.
Yes.
My husband was very much okay with it.
Yes.
You know, we're in this together. Remember, when we decided to get married to each other, we said, it's going to work.
Yes.
Kama mbaya mbaya.
Yes.
That is what we usually say, you know. And God has been faithful, for sure it did.
Yes.
So he was there all the time.
Yes.
He never really saw it as a burden or anything. He would take me to clinics. He would make sure that my medication is there on time. And it was not cheap medication.
Was it a bad condition whereby it could trigger, like unapata pesa zinaenda too abrupt? Was it a bad condition?
Now, the issue of money is that it was like a cycle. Now,
Okay.
a spiritual cycle.
Yes.
That anytime you guys get cash, it ends up in the hospital.
Oh, my.
Something we had to pray about to break.
Yes.
Because some things not only need like doctor's attention and
Yes,
stuff,
yes.
they need spiritual attacks.
Yes.
You have to attack these things spiritually.
Yes.
Which we did. Now, just a few months after being diagnosed with the heart disease,
Yes.
now I started having stomach aches and muscle pulls. Muscle pulls that I'd feel on my back.
Yes.
And they'd be so painful I could not walk. I would stand for like 10 minutes. I would hold myself on the knees. That is why you see me doing like this, because
Yes.
it has triggered the memory.
Yes.
I went back to the doctor again, now a gastro.
Yes.
And this doctor, you know, he saw us and told us, I'm going to have to do, your white blood cells are not okay.
Yes.
So I'll have to do a CT scan, a colonoscopy, and an endoscopy.
Yes.
And when I do this,
These are the tests that we normally do for ulcers.
endoscopy, yes,
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 yeah. And this way we'll be able to know what is happening.
Yes.
And you know, so I was admitted again. Luckily, I had, not even luckily, I do not like to use the word luck with God.
Yeah.
Because with God we do not depend on luck.
We don't, yes.
So by the grace of God, we had insurance. So I got admitted immediately, did the CT scan the next morning, the endoscopy, the colonoscopy, and a few hours later, the doctor came and told me, now I have some good news and bad news. Which one do you prefer first?
Yes.
I told him, okay, good news, of course. And he said, now you have hypergastritis and stomach inflammation.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, if that's the good news, what is the bad
This
news?
one is already bad.
Yes.
Yes.
And he said, you have masses in your colon. I was like, okay.
Masses are like
Polyps.
Yeah.
Polyps.
Yes.
They're called polyps.
Yes.
And the way they appear, they could be cancerous.
My God.
Just to prepare your mind.
Modomwe.
Modomwe.
Oh my God.
And I was like, hey, okay, cancer, sawa. And then he said, we'll do biopsy and the results will be back after 5 days. So I had to go home and wait for 5 days. So I was to be discharged the next morning because it was already evening. Before I went home, I slept the night through the hospital, and I dreamt that I was dead, together with a friend, with my auntie's friend.
Yes.
And we could see ourselves in coffins. And I'd tell my auntie's friend, huoni venye hao watu hawaoni venye wamenieka vibaya kichwa. I wish they can turn me a bit to my right. We were somewhere on the skies along Wayaki Way, but we were dressed in black. I do not know why or what that signified.
Yes.
And then I'd tell her, ona venye wanalia. Some of them are even pretending. Some of them never really cared. And I woke up. I called my husband immediately because, you know, seeing yourself in a coffin.
That's a spirit of premature death.
Exactly.
Yes.
I called him and I told him pray, and we prayed. And so I was able to sleep until the next morning. So 5 days later, I was discharged now the next morning. 5 days later, we went back to the hospital for the results, and the doctor for sure confirmed that the cells were there. And
the cancer
cells, yes. But by the grace of God, they were very, very minimal. So even the treatment that I would get was not invasive. It was not as tough as other people would.
Now, baby girl.
Yeah.
You are still loving God. Now, this is a wife, a newly married wife, married to somebody that they never courted for a very long time. Yes. So you may not know the decision that he may make after this, because anaweza sema nilioa msichana amerogwa. Now you have gotten a heart condition, and then you have gone to the hospital, and the doctors have said they have seen some masses that look like they are cancerous. When the results come, they are surely cancer, even if not aggressive. My viewers, I know you like us to continue with this testimony. It's a very long testimony. I want you to be left asking, if she has dreamt, seeing herself in a coffin, the test has come, she has a few masses of cancer, and what happened after that? What is her life? Next time, which is next Saturday, will come with a continuity of the same, whereby she's in a foreign land, having gone to look for medication, given 3 days to live. She's here, years after that. Is our God not a great God? Join us as we continue with Pastor Everin's testimony next Saturday, God willing, from 8 to 9. God bless you.
She's a woman, life giver, a mother with dreams and fears.